Hello brothers and welcome to Sigma Old Man channel. The strangest thing about being awake in a sleepwalking world is realizing you're not the crazy one. Sigma males aren't confused. They're just constantly surrounded by systems, people and behaviors that don't make sense to them and probably never will. While the world marches to the beat of trends, validation loops and emotional theatrics, the Sigma male is stuck wondering, wait, everyone's okay with this? Here's a cold, strange fact. According to a global study on conformity, over 75% of people will knowingly choose the wrong answer just to fit in with a group. Yeah, even when they know it's wrong. Sigma males? They'd rather chew glass. In this video, we're diving headfirst into 20 mind-boggling things Sigma males simply can't wrap their heads around, not because they're slow, but because the world is so addicted to mediocrity and performance. It treats clarity like a malfunction. So buckle up. What you're about to hear isn't motivational fluff or recycled cliches. It's a psychological expose delivered with brutal honesty, a dash of wit, and zero regard for comfort zones. And if you're not a Sigma male, consider this your invitation to eavesdrop on the inner world of the one person in the room who actually isn't faking it. Number 1, why people believe love must come with ownership. Sigma males don't view love like most people do. And one thing they genuinely can't comprehend is how quickly love turns into control. For them, love is meant to be expansive, freeing, and soul-level. But what they often see in others is love twisted into ownership, like a contract with invisible chains. Suddenly, I love you becomes I own you, and the relationship starts to feel more like a transaction than a connection. It confuses them because it's not how they operate. When a Sigma male loves someone, he doesn't want to control them, change them, or cage them. He wants them to become more of who they are, not less. But they notice how often people equate love with dominance. Jealousy is mistaken for care. Constant check-ins become surveillance, and personal space gets rewritten as emotional distance. To the Sigma, that's not love. That's emotional micromanagement. What really throws them off is how normalized this behavior is. Society romanticizes it. People post toxic quotes like, "You're mine," as if it's a compliment. But to a Sigma, that phrase sends alarm bells ringing. "You're mine" sounds like possession, not partnership. If someone truly loves you, why would they need to own you? The Sigma male just wants something simple but rare, love without a leash. He can't understand why so many relationships are built on monitoring, guilt-tripping, and emotional bookkeeping. It's exhausting. And worse, it creates a world where freedom becomes a threat. If you don't answer fast enough, you must not care. If you want alone time, you're suddenly selfish. To a Sigma, that mindset is suffocating. So when he sees people cling to each other out of fear instead of depth, he pulls back. Not because he doesn't feel, but because he refuses to participate in a version of love that feels like slow spiritual death. He'd rather be alone and free than together and shackled. It's not that Sigma males don't understand love. They understand it so deeply that the watered-down, possessive version most people call romance feels like a betrayal of something sacred. And that's why they stay confused, distant, and sometimes misunderstood. Because they're waiting for the kind of love that doesn't come with a cage key. Number 2, why people seek closure from the same person who hurt them. Sigma males see closure differently than most. To them, it's something you carve out of your own mind, not something you beg for from someone who already showed you they can hurt you. What confuses them is how many people go back to the exact person who caused the damage, hoping for healing, explanation, or emotional justice. It's like trying to fix a broken window by asking the burglar for glue. They can't relate to that cycle. In the Sigma's world, once someone has revealed their ability to shatter your peace, your priority should be reclaiming your power, not reopening the wound just to hear why it was made. Closure to them isn't about understanding what happened. It's about deciding it no longer owns you. What really blows their mind is how people seem to need a final conversation, a text, an apology, some form of validation from the very person who proved they couldn't be trusted in the first place. Sigma males see this as handing over your emotional autonomy to someone who's already proven they'll mishandle it. It feels backwards. If someone showed you their capacity for harm, why would you go back and ask them to explain the damage as if their version of the story will set you free? Sigma males heal differently. They don't need the person to admit fault or walk them through the pain they caused. They dissect it in solitude, analyze the pattern, and then choose to close the chapter themselves. It's clean, it's quiet, it's final. And they can't comprehend how so many people confuse emotional closure with permission to stay attached. In the Sigma's eyes, that's not healing, it's dependency dressed up as hope. It keeps people trapped in a loop, waiting for the person who shattered them to somehow rebuild what they destroyed. But Sigma males know if you wait for closure from someone who broke you, you're asking for peace from someone who profits from your confusion. To a Sigma, that's not just unwise, it's dangerous. Closure is a solo mission. Waiting for it from anyone else is like handing them the pen and hoping they'll write you a better ending. They won't. You have to. Number 3, the concept of fitting in as success. Sigma males never understood the appeal of fitting in. To them, it's not success, it's surrender. They don't celebrate blending in with the crowd. They question why the crowd exists in the first place. So when they see people bending, filtering, and muting themselves just to be accepted, it feels like witnessing someone put a muzzle on their own identity and then call it achievement. They don't get how people find comfort in sameness. The rituals of blending in, dressing the part, laughing on cue, hiding your weirdness, agreeing to things you secretly hate, it all looks like self-erasure to the Sigma. They watch it happen in schools, workplaces, relationships, even on social media, and it baffles them. The pursuit of sameness is treated like a virtue, when to them it's a quiet kind of death. What really puzzles them is how people brag about it. They hear things like, "I finally feel like I belong," and while they respect the emotional longing behind that, they can't understand why anyone would want to belong somewhere that required shrinking to fit. It's like watching a lion try to become a house cat. Safer, maybe, but tragically wrong. Sigma males aren't antisocial, they're just allergic to social scripts. They'd rather be alone in truth than surrounded in compromise. And that's the paradox. Society tells you fitting in is how you succeed, but to the Sigma, fitting in often means failing yourself. They're not impressed by someone who knows how to play the game, they're impressed by someone who refuses to play at all. So when others celebrate being accepted into a group or scene that required them to mute who they truly are, Sigmas quietly step back and wonder, accepted by whom? For being what? In the Sigma's mind, real success isn't about being welcomed into every room. It's about being able to walk out of any room without losing yourself. Number 4, why being liked is a life goal for some. Sigma males find the obsession with being liked deeply confusing, almost comical. To them, chasing approval is like working overtime for a currency that loses value the moment you earn it. They watch people twist themselves into pretzels just to be palatable to strangers, and they can't help but wonder, who are you trying to impress? And why do they matter so much? What shocks them most is how far people are willing to go for a like, a compliment, or a nod of validation. Whole personalities get rearranged. Beliefs get softened. Opinions get paused until the room decides what's acceptable. Sigma males can't process that kind of emotional dependence. It looks like spiritual debt, owing pieces of yourself to people who wouldn't even visit you in the hospital. To a Sigma, being liked is not the goal, being real is, even if that realness unsettles people, even if it means walking into rooms where no one claps. Sigma males would rather be disliked for who they actually are than celebrated for a version of themselves that was edited for public consumption. They also don't understand how people confuse being liked with being safe, as if social approval is some kind of force field that protects you from rejection, criticism, or loneliness. Sigmas know better. Approval is temporary, it's fickle, and most of the time it's not even real. It's just people tolerating your surface because you've hidden your depth. They see people online doing content for clicks, pretending to care, posting carefully filtered thoughts just to avoid conflict, and they laugh. Not out of arrogance, but disbelief. Because in a world where most are selling personality for popularity, Sigma males are busy protecting theirs like it's sacred. So no, being liked isn't impressive to them. It's not success. It's not peace. It's often just a sign that someone traded truth for applause. And the Sigma male, he's not here to entertain. He's here to exist without asking permission. Number 5, the addiction to busyness without substance. Sigma males look at modern life and see a circus of motion with no direction. Everyone's sprinting, scheduling, grinding, multitasking, and yet nothing real seems to be getting done. What baffles them isn't just the obsession with being busy, but the pride people take in it, as if constant movement equals importance. To a Sigma, that's not ambition. It's spiritual hyperventilation. They see people fill every hour of their day just to avoid confronting silence. Back-to-back meetings, endless errands, to-do lists so long they become identity. But when you actually examine what's getting accomplished, most of it feels hollow. People say they're building, but what are they really building? An empire, a legacy, or just a perfectly optimized treadmill they never get off? Sigma males can't relate. They work, yes, but with precision, with purpose. They'd rather spend one silent afternoon thinking deeply than a week running in circles trying to impress people who are also faking their urgency. To them, busyness without meaning is just distraction wearing a suit. What really trips them up is how society rewards this. You'll hear someone say, "I've been so busy lately," and everyone nods like it's a badge of honor. But if you ask what they've been busy with, it's often meetings that could have been emails, projects that serve no soul, or chasing metrics that move nothing but egos. Sigma males look at that and think, you're not productive, you're just avoiding yourself. And here's the kicker. Most people aren't even aware they're doing it. They confuse motion for progress, noise for significance. It's the illusion of success without the substance. Sigma males are immune to that trap. They value focus over frenzy, depth over speed, results over optics. So when they watch people wear burnout like a trophy and hustle like a religion, they shake their heads. Because to them, true productivity isn't about how much you do. It's about whether what you're doing actually matters. Number 6, the theater of forced empathy. Sigma males are naturally perceptive. They read people without effort. But what sets them apart is that they don't fake what they feel. So when they see empathy turned into a performance, it doesn't sit right with them. They can't understand how society has made emotion a public display, something you have to perform on cue, even when it's not real. You see it everywhere. People expected to react with dramatic sympathy, forced sadness, perfectly timed outrage. Whether it's a viral tragedy, a trending injustice, or a co-worker's meltdown in a Zoom meeting, everyone's suddenly expected to respond a certain way, or they're labeled cold, toxic, or not a team player. To the Sigma, this isn't empathy, it's emotional theater. They see people rehearsing feelings instead of actually having them, crying because the moment demands it, not because it comes from the gut, posting paragraphs of grief online because silence might make them look indifferent. It's all part of a culture where optics are more important than sincerity. And Sigma males? They'd rather say nothing than say something fake. They're wired to feel, but they're allergic to faking it. If they care, you'll know. If they don't, they won't pretend. But society doesn't like that. It demands emotional reactions that fit the moment, even if they're hollow. And that's where the Sigma disconnect happens. They refuse to be part of a world where you're guilted into feeling things on schedule, especially when it's more about appearances than actual connection. What blows their mind is how good people have become at performing it. Some folks have mastered the tone, the expression, the perfect "I'm here if you need anything" face, but none of it means anything. It's empathy as currency, empathy as social camouflage. Sigma males see through it instantly, and it turns them off completely. So when everyone else is crying on cue or posting perfectly filtered grief, the Sigma might be silent. But it's not because they don't care. It's because they refuse to fake it. In their world, real empathy doesn't need applause, and it sure as hell doesn't come with a script. Number 7, the way people confuse loud opinions with moral depth. Sigma males are stunned by how often noise gets mistaken for wisdom. In today's world, if someone shouts their opinion loud enough, often enough, and with enough fake conviction, they're suddenly seen as principled, as if decibels equal depth. Sigma males don't play that game. They don't raise their voices just to be heard. If anything, they speak less, but when they do, it means something. What confuses them is how people attach morality to whoever speaks the loudest or most frequently, regardless of what's actually being said. It's no longer about truth, it's about volume, performance, and emotional charge. Outrage gets more attention than insight. People aren't asking, is this right? They're asking, does this sound powerful enough to trend? Sigmas watch this with quiet disbelief. They're not impressed by verbal fireworks. They want clarity, logic, integrity. But what they see is a growing trend where substance takes a back seat to spectacle. You don't need to be right anymore. You just need to be louder than the person who is. Even worse, people now confuse assertiveness with righteousness. If you speak calmly, thoughtfully, or with nuance, You risk being labeled weak or uncertain. But if you come in swinging, even with half-baked ideas, you're a leader. That logic is alien to a Sigma. They know truth doesn't need theatrics, it doesn't need applause, it just needs to exist, and it will still be true even if no one claps. So Sigma males sit back and observe. They see the talking heads, the keyboard warriors, the faux activists drowning in their own echo chambers, and they opt out. Not because they don't have opinions, but because they don't need the validation. They know real moral depth doesn't show off. It acts quietly, thinks deeply, and never needs to trend to matter. And that's why Sigmas often confuse others. They're not loud, but they're firm. They don't speak often, but when they do, the room shifts. Because while the world chases noise, the Sigma is tuned into something much rarer, unshakable inner conviction that doesn't need a stage. Number 8, the obsession with constant validation. Sigma males operate from within. They don't need applause to feel valid, and they definitely don't need a stranger's thumbs up to believe in their own choices. That's why they find the world's obsession with constant validation not just strange, but borderline tragic. Watching people hinge their entire self-worth on follower counts, likes, views, or the latest wave of external approval feels to them like watching someone build a house on quicksand, pretty from a distance, but collapsing underneath the moment it's not praised. They don't understand how someone can feel amazing in the morning and completely worthless by the evening just because a post didn't do numbers or a group didn't cheer loud enough. For Sigma males, this emotional instability is avoidable because their confidence isn't rented from public opinion. It's built quietly in solitude. They've watched people become addicted to the feedback loop, validation, dopamine, crash, repeat. Every outfit is posted for approval, every opinion watered down for mass consumption, every moment curated not for memory but for metrics. Sigma males want nothing to do with that ecosystem. It feels like psychological slavery disguised as popularity. What really throws them is how normalized it's become. Society doesn't just tolerate validation addiction, it celebrates it. We hand out likes like candy and treat visibility like a form of success, even if it's empty. Sigma males don't play along. Their compass doesn't swing with the crowd, it's locked in, internal and untouchable. They're not anti-feedback, they just don't need it. If someone likes what they do, great. If they don't, the Sigma keeps moving, no breakdowns, no over-analysis, just forward motion. That's what makes them unshakable and often misunderstood. To the Sigma, true power is being able to exist, speak, build and create without asking the world, is this okay? They don't need permission to be themselves, and they definitely don't need applause to keep going. Number 9, why people turn their trauma into identity badges. Sigma males believe pain is personal, something you work through, not wear like a social accessory. So when they see people introducing themselves through their trauma, almost as if it's their defining feature, they pause. Not out of judgment, but confusion. To them, it feels like watching someone turn an emotional wound into a resume item. They don't understand why so many people lead with what hurt them. It's one thing to acknowledge your past. Sigma males do that too. But to build your entire identity around it, to constantly center every conversation, relationship, or social interaction around the story of what broke you, that feels backwards to them. Sigma males process their pain in silence without making it a performance. They don't turn it into a public campaign. They don't weaponize it for sympathy or use it to manipulate attention. For them, trauma is something sacred, meant to be understood, healed, and integrated quietly. The idea of dragging it into every room, every post, every interaction feels like emotional self-exploitation. They also struggle with how trauma gets commodified. People post their darkest moments for likes, views, and online applause, often without realizing they're reliving the pain for digital affirmation. Sigma males find that dangerous. Not just because it exposes wounds to people who won't protect them, but because it traps a person in the very thing they're trying to overcome. To Sigmas, healing means moving forward, not marinating in the past for relevance or identity. They don't want to be known as the guy who was betrayed or the woman who was abandoned. They'd rather be known for how they rebuilt, not how they were broken. So when they see someone wearing trauma like a badge, bringing it up constantly, using it to explain every behavior or expecting the world to make space for their pain indefinitely, they instinctively recoil. Not because they lack empathy, but because they know staying wounded becomes a lifestyle if you don't let go. In the Sigma mindset, pain is real, but it's not supposed to be permanent. You honor it by growing past it, not by dragging it into every conversation as proof of depth. Number 10, the willingness to trade privacy for convenience. Sigma males treat privacy like others treat oxygen. Vital, sacred, and not up for negotiation. So when they watch people willingly hand over their personal data, search history, location, and even thoughts just to get smoother access to apps, faster delivery, or more tailored content, it feels dystopian. It's like watching someone sell their soul for same-day shipping. They can't comprehend how comfort has become more valuable than control. People let their phones listen to them, let apps track them, and casually accept terms and conditions that read like digital surveillance agreements, just to avoid typing in their password twice. And worse, they seem proud of it. My phone knows me so well, they say, not realizing that the phone is learning them to sell them. To a Sigma, that's not convenience. It's a slow, smiling surrender. It's especially baffling because most people have no idea just how much of themselves they've given away. They think it's harmless. But Sigma males know better. They see the bigger picture. Every click, swipe, and scroll is a data point. Every yes to convenience is a no to sovereignty. Sigma males don't want to be known by algorithms. They don't want predictive suggestions based on yesterday's thoughts. They don't want a world that anticipates their every move, because that means someone, somewhere, is watching them too closely. And that idea, completely unacceptable. They understand the trade-off most people make, but they'll never make it themselves. While the world races to become more connected, Sigma males quietly build firewalls, mental, emotional, digital. They value the right to be untraceable, unread, and unfiltered. Not because they're hiding, but because they refuse to be owned. To the Sigma, privacy isn't about paranoia. It's about principle. It's about not giving the world more access than it's earned. And in an age where people willingly live in digital glass houses, the Sigma remains the rare figure who still locks the door and throws away the spare key. Number 11. Why people talk more than they build. Sigma males are allergic to empty talk. They don't care about your big plans, your vision board, or the 10 things you might do next year. They care about what you've actually built. So when they watch people talk endlessly about their goals, projects, and ambitions, without ever doing anything concrete, they check out. Not because they're arrogant, but because to them words without results are just noise. They see people pre-celebrate things that haven't even begun, posting mock-ups of brands that don't exist, making announcement videos for ideas they haven't started, or hyping what's coming for 3 years straight. It baffles them. There's so much talking, so much sharing, so much pretending to be in motion, yet nothing real has moved. Sigma males don't get high off potential. They respect process, quiet, gritty, behind-the-scenes labor, the kind of work that doesn't need a camera or a caption. So when they see someone who's all branding but no backbone, all noise but no nerve, they don't criticize. They just move on. Because in their world, talking too much about something you haven't done yet is a distraction, not a strategy. What confuses them even more is how society rewards this. People with no track record are treated like experts just because they speak with confidence. Everyone's starting a podcast, giving advice, or coaching people on things they've never mastered. Sigma males have no patience for it. In their mind, you don't teach from theory, you teach from scars. They live by one simple principle: build it, then speak. And even when they speak, it's usually after the dust has settled and the thing is already done. No hype, no teasers, just results. They don't need attention during the journey. They're focused on the outcome. So when the room is filled with people announcing, posting, performing their ambitions like theater, Sigma males are likely the ones sitting quietly, putting bricks in place. No grand opening, no soft launch, no premature applause, just discipline, consistency, and execution. That's why they're underestimated until what they've been building in silence finally speaks louder than everyone's noise. Number 12. The belief that influence equals integrity. Sigma males are baffled by how easily the world confuses popularity with principle. Someone gets 1 million followers, starts trending, or delivers a few emotionally charged sound bites, and suddenly they're seen as a moral compass. To the Sigma, that's absurd. Influence is not the same as integrity. It never has been. And pretending otherwise is dangerous. They watch people elevate influencers to guru status just because they're loud, attractive, or good at editing videos. Never mind whether they've lived what they preach, whether their values hold under pressure, or whether they even believe half the things they say. As long as the numbers are high and the tone is polished, people treat them like prophets. Sigma males can't relate. To them, charisma is a tool, but character is the foundation. It blows their mind how easily people fall for the surface. One viral moment, one clever tweet, one TED Talk-style Instagram reel, and boom, instant wisdom. But the Sigma sees through it. They know how easy it is to sound smart in 30 seconds. They know that influence is often the reward for playing the algorithm, not telling the truth, and that most people are listening to whoever speaks best, not whoever lives best. What makes it worse is that once someone becomes influential, their words get treated like sacred law even when they're clearly out of their depth. People start quoting them, defending them, following blindly while ignoring the actual lives these influencers lead behind the scenes. Sigma males don't idolize people like that. They don't care how viral you are if your values are hollow. To a Sigma, real integrity is quiet. It's built in how you treat people when no one's watching. It's shown in decisions you make when there's nothing to gain. And it's definitely not measured in likes, followers, or sponsored deals. In fact, Sigma males tend to trust people less once they become too polished, too followed, too curated, because they know the game being played. So while the world fawns over influencers, Sigma males stay focused on the invisible: values, consistency, truth. Because to them, true integrity doesn't come with a following, it comes with a cost. And if you haven't paid that cost, they're not listening. At the end of the day, Sigma males aren't confused by the world, they're just silently disturbed by how comfortable it's become with illusion. They watch a society that trades privacy for attention, substitutes noise for wisdom, performs empathy for applause, and builds identities around unhealed wounds. A world where the loudest are seen as leaders, the most visible as virtuous, and the most distracted as driven. But Sigmas aren't here to blend in. They're not impressed by showmanship, trend following, or collective delusions. While others chase validation, they chase clarity. While others post about what they might do, Sigmas are already building it in silence. They don't need to be seen to be sure of themselves, and they don't need to be liked to know their value. To the Sigma male, truth is internal, not performative. And in a world that rewards the opposite, that mindset doesn't just make them rare, it makes them dangerous. So if you've ever felt like the only one not clapping for the circus, the only one not craving the spotlight, or the only one who sees through the noise, you're not broken. You're just awake. And that's exactly where the Sigma male lives, not above the world, not below it, but outside it, quietly questioning everything everyone else has blindly accepted. If this content made you pause, think, or even feel a little too seen, don't just keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button to join a community that cuts through the noise and actually gets it. Like this video if you value real over loud, substance over spectacle. Drop a comment below and let's hear your take, especially if you felt like the outsider who sees everything differently. And most importantly, share this with someone who's built like a Sigma but doesn't even know it yet. Because the world may not speak their language, but this channel does.